I have to come clean. Earlier in the course, well, I lied to you. You know that explanation I did about how computers operate on memory? Well, it's a little more complicated than that. I know you're shocked that an introductory explanation of computational operations might have glossed over some of the details, but I swear, I'll make it up to you. Don't leave. I'll tell you everything. How computers really work. You see, computers have both memory and file storage. It's like short-term and long-term memory. When we save a file and load a file from the disk, that's in storage, long-term memory. When we declare a variable in our program, that's short-term memory in the processor. It looks a bit like this. So what's the big deal? Why can't we think of both storage and memory as one big blob of accessible data? Well, let's bring in a second program. The first program saves a file to the disk. The second program, running in a second process, can pick it up. They both have access to the same long-term storage on the physical machine. But if this program writes something to memory, the second program can't access it. You see, the operating system is responsible for allocating memory to each process running on the computer. It puts walls between the processes so they can't access each other's memory. Memory isn't one giant big blob like I implied in that earlier video. It's segmented. Access is controlled by the operating system. It's very important to a programmer where these things are being stored and who has access to what. But here's the nifty thing that operating systems allow us to do. Move these two pieces of code into the same process. When we move them into the same process, they get to share memory. We still get to run them in parallel at the same time, but instead of separate processes, they're run with separate threads. A process can have multiple threads and execute code at the same time, in parallel. Everything we've been doing in Python so far has been inside a single thread, inside a single process. That is, we compute each statement sequentially. But in this chapter, we're going to start computing things in parallel, inside different threads and processes. I hope that you can forgive my earlier simplifications, but if you're willing to stick with me, we can start coding faster than ever before.